Welcome back to the Spec Designs podcast.
It's great to be here.
So today we are getting into something that is, frankly, super frustrating for a lot of business owners out there.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge pain point.
Right. I mean, imagine spending like $10,000 on this gorgeous, state-of-the-art digital billboard. You hire the best designers, you craft the perfect message, you get it installed, and then you step back only to realize it was installed facing a solid brick wall.
Yeah, in like a totally dark, empty alley.
Exactly. Nobody can see it. And that's kind of what happens. You pour your heart, your soul, and honestly, a decent chunk of your budget into launching a beautiful new website. And you expect the phone to start ringing.
But instead, you just get crickets.
Crickets. You search for your own services online, and you are just virtually invisible.
It is heartbreaking because, you build this incredible digital asset, but the whole if you build it, they will come thing, it absolutely does not apply here.
Not at all.
And it happens way more often than people realize, mostly because there's this massive disconnect between how a human sees a website and how a search engine sees it.
And that is exactly the mission of our discussion today. We have this really comprehensive SEO blog we're exploring to figure out exactly why a website isn't showing up on Google. And, more importantly, the specific mechanics of how you can actually fix it.
Right, because you want solutions, not just problems.
Exactly. A website is not supposed to be a digital brochure just sitting on a dusty shelf. It's supposed to be your 24/7 salesperson.
Yes, always working for you.
Right. Like if a potential client is looking for your exact service at 5 o'clock on a Friday, your site needs to be right there, ready to answer their questions and close the deal. But, as we'll see, Google does not just hand out visibility for free.
No, it certainly does not. If we look at the big picture laid out in the blog, there are really three main culprits behind this kind of digital invisibility.
Okay, lay them out for us.
So number one, the site isn't indexed at all, meaning Google literally has no record that it even exists.
Wow, okay. Complete ghost town.
Exactly. Then number two, the site is indexed, but it ranks way too low to be seen by anyone. Like it's buried on page 6 or 7 where, let's be honest, no user ever clicks.
Right. Page 2 of Google is basically a graveyard.
Pretty much. And then number 3, the site only shows up when people search for your exact business name.
Branded searches, right?
Exactly, branded searches. But it completely vanishes when they search for the actual services you provide.
Okay, I want to start with that first culprit because, before we can even dream about ranking number 1 for our services, we have to make sure Google has actually walked through the front door.
Yeah, you have to be in the building first.
Right. We're talking about the difference between crawling and indexing.
Right. And this is a fundamental sequence that it really trips up a lot of people. Google actually has to do 3 distinct things in order. They crawl, they index, and they rank.
Break that down a little. What does crawling actually mean?
So crawling just means Google's automated bots, which are basically just little programs reading code, they've found the page and scanned its contents.
Okay, just scanning.
Yeah. Then indexing means Google has taken that scanned information, evaluated it, and actively stored it in its massive database.
Got it. And then ranking is the final step.
Exactly. Ranking is when Google decides where that stored page actually belongs in the search results when a real human types in a query.
I always like to think of it like a massive public library.
That's a great analogy.
Right. Like if you write this brilliant Pulitzer-worthy book, but it isn't listed in the library's card catalog, which is the index, it really doesn't matter how good the story is.
No one's ever going to find it to check it out.
Exactly. But I have to ask about a specific status that the blog mentions. It says you might look in your diagnostics and see this message that says, crawled, currently not indexed.
Oh, yeah. That one's a classic.
But wait, why in the world would Google take the time and computing power to find a page, read it, and then just decide to throw it away instead of keeping it?
Well, that's such a crucial nuance to understand. Just because a page is found absolutely does not mean it's worthy of saving.
Really?
Yeah. You have to think of Google's index as prime, incredibly expensive real estate. Every single page they store costs them server space and money.
Oh, I guess I never thought about it like that. It's a physical cost for them.
Exactly. So if their bots crawl a page and find that it's, incredibly thin on information, like maybe it's just a page with a single sentence and a contact form, or if it looks like a direct duplicate of another page on your site, Google's algorithm essentially says, look, we see this, but it doesn't offer any unique value to a searcher.
So they just toss it.
Yeah, they're like, we are not going to waste our resources storing this. It's basically a strict quality control measure.
So it's Google's way of saying try harder.
Pretty much, yeah.
But how do you, as the website owner who, let's be real, is probably not a web developer, actually figure out if you're in that card catalog or not?
Well, you can start with a very simple, totally non-technical diagnostic step.
Okay, good. Keep it simple.
You just go to Google and type site, followed immediately by your domain name. So like site.yourdomain.com with absolutely no spaces.
What did that do?
It shows you exactly what Google has indexed for that domain. If 0 results pop up, you have a critical emergency on your hands. Google hasn't indexed a single thing.
Wow. Okay, what if you want to check a specific page?
You can take the exact title of one of your most important service pages, put it in quotation marks, and just search for that. If it's not there, that specific page is missing from the database.
And if you want to get a little more sophisticated with your diagnostics, like look under the hood.
Then you absolutely must use Google Search Console.
I've heard of that.
It's free, and it's an absolutely essential tool provided directly by Google. You can use their URL inspection tool, just paste in your web address, and it will give you the exact status.
Will it tell you why it's not indexed?
Yes, it will tell you flat out if there are technical blocks preventing their bots from indexing the page.
Which brings us to what I like to call the bouncers at the door.
I love that term for them.
Because the blog details several tiny, almost invisible technical settings that can literally act like a bouncer, turning Google's bots away. How do these even happen, and what should we be looking out for?
Well, honestly, these are usually cases of unintentional self-sabotage. Yeah. The first major one is a noindex tag. This is literally a tiny piece of code in the background that explicitly tells search engines, do not store this page.
Wait, why would anyone ever put that on their site on purpose?
Usually it's an accident during the development phase. A web developer will build your new site on a private staging server. They put a noindex tag on it because they don't want Google showing the public a half-finished, broken website.
Makes sense.
But then when they push the site live to your main domain, they simply forget to delete that one line of code.
Oh no.
Yeah, suddenly your beautiful new site is completely invisible.
That is a terrifying thought. One line of forgotten code just destroys the whole investment. What's next on the list of these bouncers?
You have robots.txt blocks. This is a file that gives direct instructions to web robots about where they're allowed to go. A typo in that file can accidentally block Google from crawling entire sections of your site.
Like your whole blog or something.
Exactly, like your entire blog or your entire service directory. Just gone. Then you also have broken canonicals.
Okay, we need you to translate that one.
Sure. Think of a canonical tag like a citation or like pointing a finger. It tells Google, hey, this page is just a copy. The master version you should actually care about is over there.
Okay, following.
But a broken canonical is when it points to a URL that doesn't even exist anymore. So Google follows the pointing finger, finds a dead end, gets completely confused, and just drops the page entirely.
Wow. Okay, the blog also mentions an XML sitemap. How important is that?
Oh, very important. An XML sitemap is exactly what it sounds like. It's a literal map of all the URLs on your website, formatted specifically for machines to read.
You really need one, though. Aren't Google's bots pretty smart?
They are smart. They can usually crawl through your menus and find your pages eventually. But submitting an XML sitemap through Google Search Console is like handing the bots a perfectly drawn blueprint of your house the second they walk through the door.
So it just speeds everything up.
Exactly. It makes their job infinitely easier and ensures they don't miss the, the little rooms tucked away in the back.
So we have no index tags, robots.txt errors, broken canonicals, missing sitemaps. Are there any other traps we should know about?
Redirect loops are a really big one. That's where page A automatically forwards Google to page B, but then page B forwards right back to page A.
Oh, man. So it just bounces back and forth.
Yeah, the bot gets stuck in an infinite loop, gets dizzy, and just gives up. And finally, password protection.
Let me guess. Bots can't guess passwords.
Exactly. If a page requires a human to actually type in a login or a password to see the content, Google's automated bots cannot get past it. It will never be indexed.
Okay, so let's say we've done the audit. We fired all the bouncers, the doors are wide open, and Google's bots have successfully mapped the whole house.
Perfect.
We are officially indexed. But when I pull out my phone and search for my industry, I'm still buried on page 6. If Google knows I'm here, why am I hiding in the digital basement?
Well, this is where we run into that massive gap between branded search and service search.
Okay, break that down for us.
Let's say you own a local company called Smith Brothers Construction. If someone searches Smith Brothers Construction, you show up at number 1.
You see that, and you feel great about
Well,
yourself.
right, you think your SEO is perfect. But if a brand new customer who has never heard of you searches for emergency roof repair in Grand Rapids, your website is nowhere to be found.
Because the algorithm understands your brand name, but it has zero confidence in your relevance to the actual problem the searcher is trying to solve.
Exactly. You basically have an identity crisis. The search engine knows who you are, but it doesn't confidently know what you do or where you do it.
Okay, I want to push back on this a little bit, specifically representing the busy business owners listening.
Sure, go for it.
So, the blog uses this great phrase, clear beats clever. But from a pure user experience standpoint, isn't it incredibly annoying for a customer to have to click through 10 different pages to see what I do?
I hear this all the time.
Right, like if I'm a customer, I just want a single, beautiful Our Solutions page that lists everything right there. One click. Doesn't Google reward good user experience?
It's a very fair question, and it really highlights the tension between human design trends and algorithmic reality.
Okay, so the algorithm disagrees.
Completely. Humans might like a sleek, minimalist page that summarizes everything, but machines, they run on mathematics and keyword weighting.
Meaning what, exactly?
Let's look at the underlying mechanism.
Yeah.
If you dump all 10 of your services on one single page, you completely dilute your relevance.
How so?
Well, let's say your Our Solutions page has 1,000 words on it. If you talk about 10 different services, each service only gets about 100 words of explanation.
Okay, mathematically that makes sense.
Right. Now, let's look at your competitor. They have a dedicated 1,000-word page entirely about emergency roof repair. Mathematically, their page has vastly more topical depth, more semantic relevance, and way more keyword density for that specific topic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. To Google's natural language processors, a page trying to be about 10 things is effectively a page about nothing in particular. The competitor with the highly specific, dedicated page will win every single time.
So consolidating everything to save clicks, it's actually algorithmic self-sabotage.
It is. The blog is adamant about this. You need one dedicated page per service.
Very good.
Period. And on those pages, you have to be painstakingly clear. You have to explicitly cover who you help, what you do, and where you work.
No clever jargon.
Exactly. You cannot use clever, vague marketing jargon. Our Solutions means absolutely nothing to a search engine. Emergency commercial roof repair in Grand Rapids means everything.
That makes total sense. We basically have to label the jars in the store really clearly. Missing those specific keywords in your title tags, your meta descriptions, and your main H1 headings strips away all the mathematical weight the algorithm is looking for.
Precisely. But we can't forget the behavioral clues either.
Right, the user experience.
Yeah, the blog highlights that user experience like fast site speed, mobile friendliness, and a clean structure does matter immensely. But it matters as a secondary validation.
Okay, secondary validation, meaning
Meaning, if your page is mathematically relevant but it takes 10 seconds to load on a smartphone, Google will see users bouncing away immediately.
they just hit the back button.
Right. And that behavioral data tells Google your site is a frustrating experience and they will stop recommending it no matter how good your keywords are.
This is where things get really fascinating, though.
How so?
Let's say I follow all of this advice. I have perfect, lightning-fast, highly relevant individual service pages. The code is completely flawless. But I check the search results, and a competitor with an objectively uglier, older website is still outranking me. How is that even possible?
Because SEO is not just an open book test about what is on your website.
What is it then?
It is fundamentally a popularity contest based on trust. Google is looking for off-page validation. They want verifiable proof that you are a real, trusted, active business in the community, not just someone who hired a really good website copywriter.
And how do they measure that trust?
For local service businesses, the absolute heavyweight champion of these trust signals is your Google Business Profile, or GBP.
Now, the blog brings up a massive reality check regarding this, specifically pointing to the extreme local search volatility that happened in March 2026.
Yes.
What exactly shifted in the algorithm there?
March 2026 was a brutal wake-up call for a lot of businesses that were just coasting. The algorithm updates heavily punished staleness.
Staleness,
Yeah.
like not updating things.
Exactly. If you had a Google business profile with photos from 3 years ago, a handful of unanswered reviews, and business directory listings that hadn't been touched, you lost serious ground.
Wow, Google just lost faith of them.
Yeah, Google viewed that staleness as a lack of reliability. On the flip side, the businesses that were actively engaged, uploading fresh photos from recent jobs, responding to every single review, and keeping our holiday hours constantly updated, they were heavily rewarded.
So they want to see that the lights are on.
Exactly. Google's algorithm essentially decided to reward proof of life.
This brings up an incredibly important point about the modern internet. With all of these changes, and with Google showing so much information directly on the search page, are people even making it to the actual website anymore?
This is the most crucial shift in the entire blog, and you really have to internalize it. We have fully entered the era of zero-click searches and AI-generated search summaries.
Meaning the search engine does the work for you.
Right. Often the search engine is providing the final answer before the user ever clicks a blue link.
So if a user pulls out their phone and asks, "Who is the best landscaper near me?" an AI overview just pops up and gives them a synthesized answer.
Exactly.
But wait, where's the AI getting its information if it's not reading my beautiful new website?
AI models crave structured data. A website is often just a messy collection of unstructured text. But your Google business profile, that is a perfectly structured database of categories, locations, star ratings, and customer reviews.
Ah, I see.
When the AI generates a summary, it pulls those details directly from your profile and your local trust signals long before it tries to parse the paragraphs on your website.
That is wild. Your Google business profile is essentially your new homepage.
It really is.
Yeah,
And
it
that
is.
is why your NAP consistency is treated with such zero-tolerance strictness by the algorithm.
Okay, NAP, name, address, and phone number.
Correct. This information must match flawlessly across the entire internet.
Flawless.
Flawlessly. If your website says your zip code is 49504, but your Google profile says 49505, or your phone numbers are even slightly different, you are sending mixed signals to the machine.
It's like handing a potential client a business card where you crossed out the phone number and wrote a new one in pen.
Yes.
It immediately feels slightly unprofessional and untrustworthy.
Yeah.
They'll just call the next person.
That is the perfect way to look at it. Mixed signals destroy algorithmic trust.
It sounds exhausting to manage, honestly.
It is, because managing this consistency across dozens of platforms is so incredibly tedious. It's actually worth noting that Spec Designs offers a Google business profile management service called Get Real Leads.
Oh, that's incredibly helpful to know.
Yeah. And if you want to understand the deeper mechanics of how local citations and backlinks actually fit into this whole trust ecosystem, the blog highly recommends checking out the SD Insights SEO blogs.
Awesome. Okay, we have covered the theory, we understand the algorithm's perspective, but I really want to transition to action.
Let's do it.
The listener who is overwhelmed right now needs a roadmap. The blog breaks down a very specific chronological fix plan. Let's walk through what this actually looks like in practice.
Okay, so the blog divides the roadmap into 3 phases. What to tackle today, this week, and this month.
I like that. Breaking it down.
Right. This prevents the business owner from trying to do a year's worth of SEO in a single afternoon, which is impossible.
Let's start with today. The blog says before you go to bed tonight, you need to verify your Google Search Console. You need to use that URL inspection tool on your homepage and your top service pages to see if they are actually indexed, checking for those bounces we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
And finally, you actively click Request Indexing for your important pages. But hold on, I have to ask on behalf of the small business owner who is already working 60 hours a week.
Sure.
Opening something called Search Console and requesting indexing sounds like learning a foreign language. How user-friendly is this process, really?
I get it. It sounds intimidating, but it is actually very straightforward.
Really?
Yeah. Once you verify ownership of your domain, which usually just involves clicking a button if you already use Google Analytics, the dashboard is quite visual.
Okay, that's a relief.
You literally just paste your URL into a search bar at the top. It loads for a few seconds, and it gives you a big green check mark if it's indexed, or a gray box if it isn't.
And if it's gray?
If it's gray, there is a button right there that literally says Request Indexing. It takes less than 5 minutes per page.
Okay, that feels very manageable.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to this week, we've asked Google to look at our site. What's the next priority?
This week is all about fixing the identity crisis and building relevance.
Right, clear beats clever.
Exactly. You need to go into your website editor and rewrite those vague, clever page titles. change our solutions to commercial plumbing services in Chicago.
Be specific.
Very specific. You need to start the process of breaking your services out into individual pages with strong location cues.
And what about off the website?
Log into your Google business profile, make sure your zip code and phone number are flawless, upload some fresh photos, and most importantly, personally reach out to 3 recent happy customers and ask them for an honest review.
Building that proof of life.
Exactly.
Okay, and looking ahead to this month, what's the longer-term play?
This month is about building authority in the background. You want to start earning local backlinks,
Meaning
getting other trusted local businesses, chambers of commerce, or local news sites to link to your website.
Got it.
You also need to do an audit of your citations, ensuring your name, address, and phone number are absolutely identical on Yelp, the Better Business Bureau, and everywhere else.
Nailing down that NAP consistency.
Yep. And finally, you need to monitor your Search Console to see if your impressions, meaning the number of times you actually appeared on a screen, are going up.
I think we really need to pause here and manage expectations, because in the digital world, we are so conditioned to expect an overnight magic trick.
Oh, totally.
We want to do this work on a Tuesday afternoon and have the phone ringing off the hook by Wednesday morning.
I wish it worked that way, honestly.
Yeah.
But the reality is that SEO requires patience.
How much patience?
The blog states very clearly that it typically takes 1 to 4 weeks just for Google's bots to recrawl your pages, process the new information, and reflect the changes in the live search results.
1 to 4 weeks. Okay.
It is absolutely a marathon, not a sprint.
But what if you've done the marathon?
Yeah.
Like you've waited the 4 weeks, maybe even a few months, and you are still seeing 0 progress? Or, to take a really common scenario, what if you just paid an agency to launch a total redesign of your site and suddenly all your organic traffic fell off a cliff?
Oh, that is exactly when you need to stop trying to DIY it and call for backup.
The DIY phase is over.
It's over. The blog outlines specific scenarios where expert intervention is necessary. For example, if your traffic dropped after a redesign, you almost certainly have an issue with improper 301 redirects.
Let's define that, because that's a heavily technical term.
Sure. A 301 redirect is basically the digital equivalent of filing a change of address form with the post office.
Okay, I like that analogy.
If your old website had a page called services-list.html and your new website calls it Our Services, Google doesn't know that. They go to the old address, find a bulldozed house, which is a 404 error, and they drop you from the rankings entirely.
Yikes. So you lose all that history.
Exactly. A 301 redirect automatically forwards the bot and the human to the new page, preserving all your hard-earned authority.
So if an agency doesn't set those up during a redesign,
it is an absolute catastrophe. It is one of the most common and devastating mistakes.
Are there any other reasons you might need an expert?
You might also be dealing with something called manual actions.
What's that?
This isn't a computer glitch. This means an actual human employee at Google reviewed your site, saw that you were breaking their guidelines, like maybe a previous SEO person bought thousands of spammy fake links to your site and they manually penalized you.
Oh, wow. You got a red card.
Yeah, you're in the penalty box. Or you might just have a fundamentally messy site structure, like a complete labyrinth of code that bots just get lost in, which you simply cannot see without professional diagnostic tools.
Right.
If you are hitting a wall like that, seeking professional website design services or dedicated SEO experts is the fastest way to stop the bleeding and get back to generating real leads.
Well, we have covered an immense amount of ground today. I mean, we've gone from the technical bouncers at the door blocking the index, to the algorithmic math behind clear service pages, to the overwhelming importance of local trust signals.
It's a lot to take in, I know, but I'd love to leave you with one final, broader concept to ponder as you evaluate your own business's online presence.
Please do.
As AI continues to evolve at lightning speed, and as these zero-click search summaries become the default way people interact with information, the traditional line between your website and your reputation is completely dissolving.
Dissolving completely.
Yes. It used to be that you could have a brilliant, fast website and a mediocre, ignored Google business profile, and you could still survive in the search ranking.
And now?
That era is officially over. Today, your reviews, your local citations across the web, and your technical code are all one single, intertwined ecosystem. You can no longer optimize one and ignore the other.
That is a powerful realization. It is truly all connected now more than ever before. Thank you for listening to the Spec Designs podcast. Please follow, subscribe, and contact Spec Designs with any questions or blog topics that you want to know more about.